we go. I think we may have everybody now. Okay. Hi, everybody. How are you today? You good? If you don't want to switch on your microphone, you can nod, you can smile, or you can put your thumbs up. That's it. That's okay. So we do have a new student. Oh, I really like the sunglasses, by the way. I can see the sunglasses in one of your videos. That's great. Okay, so we are a couple minutes late today, just because we had a new student and we just had to give a tutorial to the new student. So to anyone who's new, welcome to the class, the FCE. My name is Rebecca, and this is week 3 of our course. Don't worry too much if you've missed anything from week 1 and week 2. I will actually ask the admin to upload the presentations so you can see the material that we've gone through. So, and you are free to email me to speak to me and I can guide you through what we've done so far. Okay, so hi everyone, it's really good to see you again. So let's get started. So I'm just going to click on share screen and share with you. Hopefully I click on the correct thing. Okay, so you should all now be able to see my presentation here. So as I mentioned, we're just on week 3 now, and I'm just going to start by showing you the agenda for today. When my computer catches up and stops being slow. There we go. And I'll just move you all just slightly to the side for now. Okay, so our agenda for today, we're going to be looking at the listening for part 1 of the exam, so listening part 1 specifically. And for this, we'll be referring to your course textbook, which I know that you all have, as part 1 of Unit 1. So we're still doing Unit 1, and the pages that we'll be referring to today, pages 8 and 9. And during our lesson, we will look at what skills are being tested by the listening part 1 of the FCE exam. And we'll also talk about some tips. We'll go over some tips of how to succeed in this part of the exam. And then we'll do a practice run through part 1. So we'll do this in silence, and then you'll get to practice answering the questions, and then we can discuss the answers and various tips and or strategies to help you to get to the correct answer. Then we will be, so just addressing point 4 here, we'll then be moving on to look at a little bit of grammar for the next part of the class. And we'll be looking at asking questions in the present tense using do, because this is a very important auxiliary verb that you need to know for asking questions in this tense. And then we'll go through some phrasal verbs that were used in the listening that the exercise that we just done together. So we will be looking at the phrasal verbs that we heard in the listening. And then if there's time, we'll go through the homework from last week. Now, I know that 1 or 2 of you emailed me you asked me to remind you what the homework was. I actually couldn't access the website, the Tuition King website yesterday to email you back. But if you don't remember what the homework was from last week, don't worry too much, because we are going to go through the answers together today. And just make a note that in future, make sure you write down what the homework is so that you don't forget, because problems of technology occur all the time. On my end, on your end, on the Tuition King website's end. So it is always good practice for you to make a note of what homework that there is. Then, of course, I will be leaving you with a homework task for this week as well. Okay. So just switching over to the next slide here. So I'd like to just begin with a little warmer, just a little warming exercise activity. And I just want you to tell me approximately 3 activities that you like to do with your family. And if you're feeling a bit kind of nervous and it is just the beginning of the class today, and you don't really want to speak on your microphone, I'm happy for you to type in the chat if you prefer to do that. If you want to speak, then you can just unmute your microphone. So just tell me, please, 3 activities that you like to do with your family. Now, I'll just give you a moment to either type or switch off your microphone. 3 activities that you'd like to do with your family. Just going to stop sharing for a moment so I can look at anything that's in the chat. So I will start, and in fact I'll also write what I'm saying. So I like to attend comic conventions with my family. So we dress up as characters from science fiction and fantasy, TV shows and films. Would anyone else like to give me an example of an activity that you like to do with your family? You can type it in the chat box. That's a good one. I like that. So, Anthony, who usually wins? Oh, that's wonderful. I really like to play badminton, and I have to admit, I don't actually know the rules. I just enjoy just hitting we call it a shuttlecock. It's a strange word, I know. So the shuttlecock, I'm not sure if it's 1 word or 2 words, but this is the little thing that you hit with the badminton racket. Okay, I'm just looking at the answer here that says I would like, because the question was what do you tend to do? So you have to frame it as in something you do regularly. So rather than I would like, you should frame what you're saying as my family and I have picnics, or when we can, we tend to have a picnic or to go on a picnic. Okay, some really good examples there. So I'm just going to ask you another question. If you're still typing your answer, please feel free to keep adding, to keep typing as well while you're listening, and then to enter your activities into the chat. I just also want to ask you just another question, and to answer this, just nod your head or smile or put your thumbs up. I'm going to ask you, is family life important in Malaysia? Do you spend like a lot of time with your family, or the reason I'm asking this is because in some cultures, family life is not as kind of central to day-to-day activities. Is it really important in Malaysia? Are you very close with your family? So I just wanted to nod yes or no. Okay, so I see some nodding there. Oh, I just want to have a look at this. I would like. Okay, so remember that I said that not I would like, but I make cookies. So make, and we would say bake. Okay, so I will type in the chat box. I like to bake cookies or a cake with my family. So normally we would say bake for this. Okay, thank you everybody. As I said, if you still have some activities that you want to type and you want me to have a look and to correct them, just continue to do that in the chat box, and I will look back throughout the lessons. Okay, so I will share my screen again. Okay, I just saw Nicholas's one. That's good. It's a very good example. Okay, so just moving on to the next slide. Okay, so I've just got a slide here with some information about the listening part 1, and just some tips here for how to, so what you're being tested on and what you need to do in order to succeed. So what you need to be able to do in this part of the exam is to identify key ideas in the questions, and soon we'll be doing an exercise based on this idea. We'll be doing that very soon. And you'll also be expected to listen for the gist. So the gist as well as the specific information. So the gist just means the general information, but you should also be listening for specific information as well. So in part 1, you'll hear like a series of 8 extracts, and these extracts are 30 seconds long, and they tend to be unrelated, so not on the same topic or not usually the same people. And they are usually monologues, so just one person speaking, or it might be a conversation between 2 people. There's quite a lot of variation with that. And for each extract, you'll have a question, and the question, you have 3 possible answers, A, B, or C. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to have an exercise soon whereby you will underline the main ideas in the questions. But I do want to say that in the listening exam, it's always good to read the questions and to underline the main ideas, but I would actually recommend not reading the possible answers before you listen, because if you read all of the information, it might confuse you. So just read the questions and not the possible answers until you've got the information, heard the actual listening. Okay, so in the listening exam, if you didn't catch the information the first time, you will have a chance to listen to the extract a second time. So each extract is played twice. So you should aim to answer the first time round and then to check your answer when you listen the second time. Okay. And as I mentioned, you're being tested on your ability to understand the gist, also detail and kind of function and purpose or attitude as well. So a lot of this is general information. Okay. So if this is a lot of information and you're worried you're not taking in all of this information, if you're not absorbing it, don't worry, because we're going to practice all of this together, and soon it will become natural for you to know what is expected of you and what you can do to help you succeed. Okay. Okay, so as I mentioned, soon we are, as a whole class, we're going to listen to the extracts from an example of part 1 of the listening exam. But before that, as I mentioned, we're going to do an exercise. And that exercise is, you'll be looking at 3 questions 1 to 8 on pages 8 and 9. And so in a little while, I'll put you in your breakout rooms in pairs. I think we have an even amount today, so if not, I'll think about how to do that as I'm organizing the rooms. So what I'd like you to do in your pairs is I would like you to underline the main idea in each question. So to save time, because we're only going to be in our breakout rooms for 5 minutes, I want groups in breakout rooms 1 to 2 to focus on just on questions 1 to 4, and groups in the breakout rooms 3 to 5 to focus on questions 5 to 8. And I am just going to briefly show you what exactly which section I'm referring to. Can you all see that I'm now showing you the course textbook? Can you see that? Can I have a nod? I can only see Anthony's and Leishan's video. So can you nod if you can see the course textbook? Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, I can't seem to... here we go. Sorry, I should have had the page open in advance. My apologies. Okay, so page... So just so you can see visually what I'm referring to, where in the book. So we started off here, and now I want to draw your attention to here. So these are the questions that you're going to be focusing on in your breakout rooms. So questions 1 to 8, all the way here on the next page, and you should be underlining the main ideas. So the first example has been done for you. So have a look at this. So he thinks his mother helps him because. So the first example has been done for you. Now, just returning back here. So just before we start our breakout rooms, let's talk a little bit about why we've underlined these main ideas specifically. So if we think about what information is conveyed by this by the underlined text, we have mother. So he thinks someone, who is that person, does something. What is the action? So who does what? Mother helps. And then because. So you know that what you're listening for is in the listening exam is you're listening for something to do with the mother, the action, helps, and you're looking for a reason. But just beware though that you might not hear the word helps and you might not hear the word because. So you're not listening specifically for the word because, but more generally, you're listening for a reason, okay? So in your breakout rooms, which I'll put you in just now, focus on questions 1 to 8. Again, I just want to highlight this instruction here, please. Breakout rooms 1 and 2, questions 1 to 4, breakout rooms 3 to 5, questions 5 to 8. Just underline the main ideas, please. And I'd like you to think about this question here that I've highlighted. Oh, sorry. I don't like technology sometimes. It's very fiddly. So I want you to consider at the same time, while you're in your breakout rooms for 5 minutes, why do you think it's important to underline the main idea? And how do you think this might help you in the listening exam? Okay. So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen now. And I will begin to organize your breakout groups. Okay, I think, okay, I've just been made host, so now I can do this in the breakout rooms. So just organizing your breakout rooms. Okay. Now remember that you should be discussing the questions, not just working in silence, and obviously please discuss in English. Okay, thank you everybody. I will see you back in this room in about 5 minutes time. Okay, so that's everyone now back from the breakout rooms. I'm just going to share my screen again. So I'd like you, please, to speak on your microphones. So remember, if you for speaking, to unmute the microphone. I know that it's easy to forget to do that, and I've done that before myself. So it happens to all of us. So I just want you to take a moment to unmute your microphone to answer the question. This is the question you should have also been considering and discussing in your breakout rooms. Why do you think it's important to underline the main idea in the questions? And how do you think this might help you in the listening exam? Okay, in case you didn't discuss that, I'm going to give you all about a minute. So within a minute, to give you the chance to unmute your microphone and to share your ideas. Okay, so just going to ask one more time. Would anybody like to speak on your, unmute your microphone? What ideas? Why is it important to underline the main ideas in the question? How might this help you in the listening exam?
Teacher.
Yes, I can see you.
Yeah. I think it's important to underline the main idea in the questions because we can see the keywords more clearly and directly when we answer the questions.
Good. So you're saying that they can point you in the right direction, so they can help you to anticipate the answer. Good, exactly. Wonderful. Okay, if anyone has any further ideas that they want to add, just unmute your microphone, or because we now need to move on, just type in the chat box if you have an additional idea that you want to share with us. Okay, so don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the answers. We will check the answers very soon, but we will check the answers to this exercise after the next exercise. Okay, so as a class together in the main room, we are going to listen to the actual audio file. So this is an example of what part one of the listening exam would really be like. So it's very good to get this practice in. So as I mentioned, each extract will be played twice. So first time round, try to listen for the answer. The second time it's played, use the opportunity to check your answer. So the audio file as a whole is 10 minutes long. That includes the time it takes to repeat each extract. Each extract is very short, as I mentioned. They're just 30 seconds, and there are 8 in total. And you know that you have to select A, B, or C. As I mentioned, make sure you read your questions, and also remember that you have underlined the main idea as well for these questions. And when we go through the answers, the actual answers for the listening test, I'll also give you the suggested underlined main ideas at the same time. Okay, so we're looking at the answers for both exercises together. Okay, so additional advice here. You should listen to the individual extract, so the whole extract, before you select your answer. So if you think you've heard the answer but it's not finished, don't immediately try to answer, because you never know if there's additional information which might make your answer incorrect. So make sure that you listen to the whole extract before you answer. And so listen for specific words and or phrases which will give you the answer. And again, use that second listening to check. So after we have finished listening to the audio, I will put you into breakout rooms to compare your answers before we actually go through what the answers actually are. So this is a time for you to discuss with each other in larger groups rather than in pairs. And I also, as well as comparing your answers, I want you to reflect on whether or not underlining the main ideas was helpful. Okay. And then when we come back from the breakout groups, we will go through all of the answers. Okay, so I am about to play the audio file. Okay, we'll just test it at first so that you can let me know if it's too loud or if it's not loud enough. Let's see. So just before I press play to test it, make sure that you have your books open, and I will show you the exact page that you should have open, exactly where. Here. So just to clarify, to make sure that you've all got your books open and you're looking at these questions and you're going to choose from these answers for each extract. Okay.
Unit 1, Listening Part 1, Exercise 2. 1.
Okay. Did you all hear that? Okay. Was the volume okay? Do you need it louder? If you need it louder, please say in the chat. Just say it louder, please, or quieter. Okay. I will just stop sharing just for a second. So now I can see all of your cameras. Can you put your thumbs up if the volume is okay, was okay? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Wonderful. So I will go back and start it again. Okay. Good luck, everybody. I'll now turn my microphone off. Oh, no, that won't work. Sorry. Never mind. Here.
Unit 1, Listening Part 1, Exercise 2.
1. You hear part of a conversation with a boy called Patrick. Do you help much around the house then, Patrick?
Not much. I make my bed and occasionally do the washing up, but I'm studying pretty hard for my exams at the moment, so my mum ends up doing most of the housework while I get on with my studying. Even so, she still finds time to give me a hand with my studies from time to time. She used to be a maths teacher, and she knows I'm getting a bit nervous about the maths exam. I suspect she finds explaining algebra and things quite fun, and actually, she's pretty good at it too.
Do you help much around the house then, Patrick?
Not much. I make my bed and occasionally do the washing up, but I'm studying pretty hard for my exams at the moment, so my mum ends up doing most of the housework while I get on with my studying. Even so, she still finds time to give me a hand with my studies from time to time. She used to be a maths teacher, and she knows I'm getting a bit nervous about the maths exam. I suspect she finds explaining algebra and things quite fun, and actually, she's pretty good at it too.
2. You hear a girl called Tracy talking to a friend.
So, how often do you all do things together as a family then, Tracy?
Oh, all the time. I mean, at least once a week at weekends. You see, we live in this really old house which we've been working on together. In fact, we've just finished doing up the kitchen. It's been great fun because we've all been doing it together. We made a lot of mess, of course, which we had to clear up, and now we're decorating it so it's looking nicer and nicer. We had lots of really big arguments about the colour, but in the end, I got my way.
So, how often do you all do things together as a family then, Tracy?
Oh, all the time. I mean, at least once a week at weekends. You see, we live in this really old house which we've been working on together. In fact, we've just finished doing up the kitchen. It's been great fun because we've all been doing it together. We made a lot of mess, of course, which we had to clear up, and now we're decorating it so it's looking nicer and nicer. We had lots of really big arguments about the colour, but in the end, I got my way.
3. You hear a girl called Vicky taking part in a class discussion. Does anyone ever do sports with other people in their family? Yes, Vicky.
Well, my dad's a fitness fanatic, so he's always running or cycling or doing something energetic. I do sporty things with him now and again, more often in the summer, though occasionally at other times of the year as well. He's got a few days holiday at the moment, so he's probably doing something sporty right now. He's always asking me to go out cycling with him, but now I've got a boyfriend and other things to get on with, so recently I've been spending more time with him and not so much with my dad.
Does anyone ever do sports with other people in their family? Yes, Vicky.
Well, my dad's a fitness fanatic, so he's always running or cycling or doing something energetic. I do sporty things with him now and again, more often in the summer, though occasionally at other times of the year as well. He's got a few days holiday at the moment, so he's probably doing something sporty right now. He's always asking me to go out cycling with him, but now I've got a boyfriend and other things to get on with, so recently I've been spending more time with him and not so much with my dad.
4. You hear a boy called Costas talking about family celebrations.
I take it you don't enjoy family celebrations then, Costas?
Not much, to be honest. I just feel they go on for too long, and I'd prefer to be out doing other things with my mates, not sitting around listening to my uncles and aunts and that. Everyone's always telling the same old jokes or singing the same old songs, and I've heard them all millions of times, so I guess I've just lost interest. I mean, it's just not much fun anymore. I try not to show it, but, I just wait for things to end, and then when I get the chance, I go out with my friends. That's what I really like.
I take it you don't enjoy family celebrations then, Costas?
Not much, to be honest. I just feel they go on for too long, and I'd prefer to be out doing other things with my mates, not sitting around listening to my uncles and aunts and that. Everyone's always telling the same old jokes or singing the same old songs, and I've heard them all millions of times, so I guess I've just lost interest. I mean, it's just not much fun anymore. I try not to show it, but, I just wait for things to end, and then when I get the chance, I go out with my friends. That's what I really like.
5. You hear a boy called Rajiv talking to his sister on the phone.
Hiya.
Are you still at Jasvinder's house?
Yeah, why? We're just playing some games.
Computer games? I've been looking for my laptop. You wouldn't have any idea what's happened to it, would you?
Oh, I've just borrowed it for the evening. Hope you don't mind.
Oh, honestly. You're always using my stuff without asking me, and I've got this really important homework project. Now what am I going to do?
Use Dad's computer instead. He won't mind.
Look, I can't do that. I've got everything saved on mine, and you've just walked off with it.
Hiya.
Are you still at Jasvinder's house?
Yeah, why? We're just playing some games.
Computer games? I've been looking for my laptop. You wouldn't have any idea what's happened to it, would you?
Oh, I've just borrowed it for the evening. Hope you don't mind.
Oh, honestly. You're always using my stuff without asking me, and I've got this really important homework project. Now what am I going to do?
Use Dad's computer instead. He won't mind.
Look, I can't do that. I've got everything saved on mine, and you've just walked off with it.
6. You hear a boy called Marco talking to a friend.
Hi, Marco. What's the matter? You look exhausted.
Oh, I am. You see, we went on this family outing yesterday. My mum said it'd be good for me to have a break from all my schoolwork. She says I've been working too hard. Anyway, we went down to the seaside, which is quite a long way, as you know. And then my dad and I spent ages swimming and playing in the sea. Mum had to drive us home. We were both so worn out by the time we came out.
Hi, Marco. What's the matter? You look exhausted.
Oh, I am. You see, we went on this family outing yesterday. My mum said it'd be good for me to have a break from all my schoolwork. She says I've been working too hard. Anyway, we went down to the seaside, which is quite a long way, as you know. And then my dad and I spent ages swimming and playing in the sea. Mum had to drive us home. We were both so worn out by the time we came out.
7. You hear a girl called Samin leaving a telephone message for her mother.
Hi, Mum. It's Julia's birthday today. Anyway, she's having a party and I've been with Susanna and Claire to buy her a present. We got her a really nice bag, but it was a bit expensive. Anyway, the reason I'm phoning you is because she's invited us to spend the night at her place. Is that all right, Mum? It is Friday night, so I don't have to get up early tomorrow or anything. I'll give you a call when I want you to come and pick me up. Hi, Mum. It's Julia's birthday today. Anyway, she's having a party and I've been with Susanna and Claire to buy her a present. We got her a really nice bag, but it was a bit expensive. Anyway, the reason I'm phoning you is because she's invited us to spend the night at her place. Is that all right, Mum? It is Friday night, so I don't have to get up early tomorrow or anything. I'll give you a call when I want you to come and pick me up.
8. You hear an interview with a young musician called Pau. Pau, you play the trumpet in the town band. Why did you go for that particular instrument?
Well, I don't think I really had a choice. There have always been trumpeters in the band from my family. My granddad gave me his when he stopped playing, so I think he'd have been shocked if I'd chosen something else. I quite like it, but I think I'd prefer the guitar, because then I could play in a rock band instead. Perhaps I'll learn that as well. You don't have to just choose one instrument. You can play others as well.
Pau, you play the trumpet in the town band. Why did you go for that particular instrument?
Well, I don't think I really had a choice. There have always been trumpeters in the band from my family. My granddad gave me his when he stopped playing, so I think he'd have been shocked if I'd chosen something else. I quite like it, but I think I'd prefer the guitar, because then I could play in a rock band instead. Perhaps I'll learn that as well. You don't have to just choose one instrument. You can play others as well.
Unit 1. Listening Part 1.
Okay, don't worry, we don't have to listen to all of that again. Okay, so hopefully you found that okay, not too difficult. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put you into breakout groups just for a maximum of 5 minutes, and I want you to just compare your answers and to reflect on whether underlining the main ideas helped you to arrive at the answers. Okay, so if you find that you and other people in the class or in your group have a different answer, then you can maybe reflect on why that might be. So why do you think it's answer A? Why does the other person think it's answer C? And hopefully you can arrive at a decision together. Then when you come back, we'll go through the answers, and actually, as soon as we come back from the breakout groups, let's take a break, 5-minute break, and then we'll go through the answers, okay? So I'll put you into your breakout groups first to compare your answers. Let's just stop sharing the screen. So just setting you up into your breakout rooms now. Recreate. Okay, everybody, I will see you in about 5 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute break, and then, we'll decide 5 or 10 minutes afterwards. Okay, so putting you into your breakout rooms now.
Teacher, I didn't enter the breakout room.
Yeah, I can see. Did you not get an invitation?
Yes, I think.
So just click join the breakout room.
It is gone. Just now I have clicked it.
Okay, so let's say, I think you will get the invitation again if I move you to breakout room, but one, but then I'll change you back to breakout room 2 or someone else. Let's see.
Okay, sure.
Have you received the invitation?
Wait a minute. I think not yet.
Okay. If you don't, I'm not sure what's gone wrong. Sorry, but if so, I'll just put the video back on. See the time 54. Okay, so I suppose we could discuss your answers together, just you and me, if you like. I can't tell you right now though whether or not they're correct because I'd rather go through that together. But you can tell me what you think. Okay, so
okay,
sure. So what did you think? I'm going to share my screen with you if you don't mind, just so we can look at the book.
Okay.
Okay, just ignore the this here. So what did you think for the first one? Oh, obviously the first one hasn't been done, just the main ideas. What did you think for the first one?
I think the first one, the answer should be B. She worries about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit later. So as I say, I'm not going to say right now what the answer is correct or not, but a little bit later, actually, for homework, I'll be asking everyone to try to, because I'll be giving you the script to underline where you found the answer. Okay, so what about number 2?
Actually, number 2, I'm not sure, but I think it's B, hinting it.
Okay.
And then the questions 3, the answer will be C, less often than before.
I think that the wording in number 3, as in like when you were listening to the audio, is a lot easier than number 2 and 1, because number 2 and 1 just went on a little bit, didn't it? And it wasn't so straightforward. I mean, that's a point that I'll come to soon. I don't know, number 4.
My answer is A, Bart.
He was very straightforward about that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was quite a nice one.
Yeah.
Number number 5. Why is he annoyed with her? I think that one was another quite straightforward one.
The question is 5. My answer is A. She has taken something without permission.
I think, would you be angry if like your brother and or sister just took your laptop without your permission? Imagine you couldn't go to class. You couldn't.
Yeah, of course.
I couldn't imagine.
I'd be very furious.
What about
the question 6? Yeah. The question 6, my answer is B, exercise.
Okay.
And then the question 7, I am not sure because I didn't get the answer very clearly, but I think
for this one you need to understand the function rather than listening for a specific. Well, you are listening for specific words, but it's more about understanding the function. So that gist of it.
Yeah.
So she does. I think that she does at least 2 of these in the audio, doesn't she? So she does explain and she does ask permission. So I can understand why there's some confusion there. And what about the final one?
Yeah. And then the questions 8, I choose A. It was the only instrument available. But I heard that C is possible too.
Okay. Okay, really quick. I just want to say that you're talking about past tense, so you could use the past tense or the present perfect. You could say I chose or I have chosen. Either's fine, but not I choose. So I chose or I have chosen or selected. I selected answer A.
Okay.
Completely up to you. Okay. So I'm going to bring everybody back now, and then just I'm just trying to think whether a 5 or a 10-minute break would be better for everybody. I think I'll let everyone type in the chat which they would like.
Maybe.
Okay, so I'll just stop sharing, and I think that on here it's possible to set up something called a poll.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know how to do that. I'm just going to quickly, while everybody's coming back, see if I can do that. Well, unfortunately, I don't really know how to do it. Maybe in the future I will learn how to do that. It seems that everyone is back from Breakout Room 2, but everyone is in Breakout Room 1. You're all still there. So just waiting for the Breakout Rooms to close. In the meantime, can you tell me in the chat if you'd prefer to have a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break? So 5 or 10-minute break. So I will go by whatever is the majority decision. Because it's your time, your break. I don't know how tired you are today. So if you just type your replies in the chat, 5 or 10. Okay, we have 1 vote so far for 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, so we have a majority vote already for 10. Okay, okay, gang group. Let's have a 10-minute break. We'll come back and discuss the answers together. Then we'll look at some phrasal verbs or something a little bit lighter thing. Okay, everyone. So I'll just switch my camera and microphone off and see you at approximately 10 minutes past. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Slightly longer than 10 minutes, but I think you spent a long time listening to that. The listing was quite a long piece. So let's just go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Thankfully, it's not open on the page with the answers just yet. Okay, so just moving you to the side here. Okay, so we're going to take the time now to go through the answers together. You'll see the answer A, B, or C for each of the questions, but also the suggested underlined main ideas. Okay, now, so number 1, okay, so I'd like to ask you all, I'll reveal to you and then we can talk about it. Oh, unfortunately, you see the answer when I'm trying to minimize the square, so that's not going to work out so well. So the answer to the first one, she helps because she enjoys it. And if you're wondering to yourself, well, how that's not my answer, and why is that the answer, then we're not going to take the time to discuss that right now. Instead, at the end, I will issue you with an additional homework task, and that will be to go through the audio script, which I will make available to everybody, because it's very important that if you see that your answer doesn't match the actual answer, then you should look in the script to find out why that is, because that will help you to improve your listening skills. Okay, so I'm going to now delete this box here so you can see the suggested main ideas. So the main ideas that are suggested for you to underline are, obviously the first one was done for us. We see mother helps and because. Let's go to number 2. The answer for number 2 is B, painting it. Now, again, if this is not the answer you have, do take the time to go through the audio script. It's very important that you do that as part of the reflection process, because anytime we do an important task together that is a practice of what you would do in the exam, you should always reflect on your performance. And if your answers are incorrect, you should always try to think, well, why are my answers incorrect? Look at the correct answers, look at the information in the questions, and to try to go through this whole reflective process of trying to figure out where you went wrong and why. And that, as I said, that really will help you to improve a lot. So the main ideas in the question to help you to determine the answer is, so doing to the house. So what are they doing to the house? Now, painting it is the answer, B. And if you're wondering, oh, well, I didn't hear the word painting, we're going to discuss that very soon in the next slide. For now, just look at your answer, tick whether it's correct or incorrect, and then we'll talk about the answers in a moment. Easier if I just move the square, then you don't see the answers in advance. So C is the answer to number 3, less often than before. And our key main ideas that you should have underlined, or these are suggestions, but how often, do sporting activities, and farther. So this tells you that in the listening, you're looking for some sort of phrase, some sort of adverb or adverbial phrase of time, of how often you do something, what is done, and with whom. These are all your clues or cues for you to help direct you towards the correct answer. Let's look at number 4. The answer for this is bored, and I think that the speaker makes this quite clear. He finds family events so together, he finds them very boring. And so our key idea here, family celebrations, and that describes the event, and feel. So how does it make him feel? As we've noted, you might not even hear the word feel as such. So the reason why we would underline feel is because this tells you you're looking for some description of an emotion or state of being. Okay. Number 5. The answer again is A. So she's taken the laptop without permission. Let's have a look at what the main ideas in the question were that you should have underlined. Sister, annoyed, and because. And just like in the first example here, we've underlined because this is a signal word, and this signals that you're listening for a reason. Number 6, B, exercise. And I'm going to show you. Okay. So the main ideas were tired and because. Again, because you're listening for a reason. Now, let's go on to number 7. Number 7, and the answer is C. Now, that was quite hard because in the 3 options, you have explanation as well as asking permission for something. And actually, the speaker does explain because she gives some context. She says that she's been out to buy a present, which was very expensive. So this is all information she gives before she eventually gets to the point of what she's saying. And this, by the way, is very, very typical of British people as part of our culture, that we, instead of getting straight to the point, we have what we call preamble. So this is just, we're giving some context before we get straight to the point of, so the purpose of what we're saying, the purpose of why we're calling you or contacting you. So, hi, how are you? I did X, I did Y. By the way, I'd like to, and then later you have the reason. So this is quite common cultural aspect for British speakers. Okay, so the main ideas here. Message, mother to. So why is she messaging or calling the mother? To, because to do something, you're listening for a purpose, the purpose of the communication. Okay, and 8, finally, the reason why Pao plays the trumpet. He says it's a family tradition. And so that is the answer there. And the key idea to help you arrive at the answer. So reason why he chose, it's his choice. And of course, the instrument is trumpet, because the question specifically refers to trumpet. Whereas in the answer, he talks also, the instrument he mentions is actually a guitar. So if you were just listening to the listening text, you would think, guitar, he wants to play something else. He doesn't explicitly mention trumpet. So this is why it is important to think about, to read the questions carefully and underline the main ideas. Okay, so we're going to engage in a little bit of task reflection now. Okay, so question or something we've already pointed out a little bit is, was the wording that was used in the question, did the wording in the questions match what was said in the audio extract? Were they the same? Did anyone notice this? Okay. So the answer I'm searching for, because I did already mention it, so I won't necessarily wait or make you answer it. Something that you have to pay very close attention to is that I said to you that when underlining the main ideas and the questions, that the point of this is to help you find the answer, okay? But that doesn't mean you're going to hear the exact wording of the question. That's why I said that the wording in the question, the main ideas, act as signals. So for instance, if you see the word because in the question, you underline because, you know that you're going to hear a reason, but that doesn't mean you're going to specifically hear the word because. And there are other ways in English, other wording that we can use, and this is very, very common in the listening, and this is something you have to be absolutely prepared for. You will not hear the same wording, and I'm going to show you an example here from the first one. So from extract 1, so in the question here, so in the question that you saw in your book, the ideas that were underlined, mother helps, but Patrick doesn't use this wording. Instead, he says, my mum ends up doing. And again, he doesn't say because explicitly, even though I said that in the example, because was an underlined main idea. Patrick doesn't use the word because. Instead, he says, I suspect she finds explaining algebra and things quite fun. So this is where you can find the answer. And this is why practicing the listening is very important. And it is why at the end of this lesson, I am going to ask you in your own time to read through the audio script so you can locate the answer, and they'll already be underlined for you. I just want you to look at the differences between the wording of the questions and the answer. But again, I'll explain this, I'll remind you at the end. Okay, so I asked you earlier, why do you think it might be important to underline the main ideas? This is another reason why it's important to do that, is because it's to remind you of what kind of information you expect to hear, not specifically what words you might hear. So because was in the question, so you're listening for a reason, not specifically for the word because. But underlining these main ideas really helps you. And that's one of the reasons why I was saying that we should underline these answers. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, we're going to move on now from the listening to look at some present tense, a little bit of grammar now. Something a bit different. Now, this isn't in your course book. In fact, in your course book, it is a different exercise, which I'll talk to you in a moment. But in order to do the exercise, I thought we should have a little bit of, so we should spend some time looking at how to ask questions in the present tense. And for this, we usually use do. Do is a very important or auxiliary verb. And the reason why I felt that it was very important for us to spend some time on this is because when I issued you your, when I first met you all for the speaking test, and from what I've heard from you speaking in class, I've noticed that there's some difficulty, especially with third person do. So on that note, this is why I put this section here. So if I want you to pay attention to where it says important. And what I'm going to do is, so what we have here is how to form do with I, you, we, you, and they, and then he, she, it. I know this may sound incredibly simple, but it is a mistake I heard many of you making again and again and again and again throughout the speaking test that we had. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one and ask you, as any of you, to unmute your microphone and just shout what it is. So we'll do the first one. So I, and the answer is do. Okay, so for the next one, you, can you unmute your microphones and just shout out the answer, please? Is it you do? Is it you does? You doing? What is it? You, I do, you.
You do. You do.
Excellent. We.
We do.
Good. Excellent. Well done. Now, again, again is you. This is not an official use of you, but we do use you in the plural. We just don't have a form for it. So what about you here? I do, you do, we do, you, plural. Yeah, I'll give you this one. Do. What about they? So this is one that you should all know.
Do.
Good. Good, excellent, thank you. Now this is the one I've noticed that you will have difficulties with. Can anyone please shout out the answer for he, she, it?
Does.
Good. Please do remember this. Oh, I don't know why I have this this notification. I don't really understand it. Okay, so please do remember that with the third person. Third person, we need to change the form of all verbs, okay? So I'm going to show you now some examples of how we can form some questions, and specifically, so for most questions in the present tense, we need to use the verb do, even if we already have a WH word. So for example, where, what, and when. Now, the exception is with who. Often when we use who, however, we don't tend to use do. And I have some examples here. So with where, what, and when. So where do Angela and Rita live? And just to make a note that this is do singular, do to agree with they, because you have two here. So Angela and Rita, because do is for trying to sorry, sometimes grammar is complicated to explain, isn't it? This is for third person plural with they, we would use do. But have a look at third person here. What does Angela do? And when does Rita usually get up? But observe these examples with who. These examples with who, we don't have do at all. So who lives in London? Who plays football weekend? Who works at Liverpool City Hospital? Okay, so if you're not feeling too confident about your ability to ask questions in the present tense using do, then I would really like you to either take a picture of this or to make a note, because we're about to do an exercise in the breakout rooms together in which you have to correct some questions, and the error is located with the verb do. So I'll just move the slide on. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because I can hear my son knocking on the door and shouting, "Mummy, mummy." Okay, so moving you on to the task. Whew. Okay, so this is a task at the bottom left-hand side of page 9. I mentioned that there are some sentences that you need to correct, and these are in the forms of questions. And so the mistakes in these are very common mistakes that English students make. So please discuss your answers together, as I said before, not just working individually. And I will show you the book, exactly which exercise I'm referring to. So if you can see on my screen, it's this little tablet here, this book, this box even. The first example has been done for you. So let's do this in pairs. So in pairs for 5 minutes. Can you please go through these and correct them together? And then we'll go through some of the answers. Okay, so just assigning your breakup. I'm going to stop sharing now and assign you your breakout groups. So I'll put you in pairs for this. Hopefully you'll receive your invite this time. That should be all of us back now. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. So sharing again, sharing the screen. Okay, so I'm going to be, I may switch between the book and the presentation if need be, but I think it won't be necessary because you should have the books in front of you. So I'd like to ask you, the first one has been done for you. Have a look at this, what you can see here, number 1. So the original example said how much you help around the house, and you saw that you needed to change it.
How often do you...
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's great. So can you, yeah, please just give me number 2 then, if you want to go ahead. What is the
How often do you all doing things?
Good. How often do you? I won't type the whole thing, but rather the section that you need to Correct. Well done. Exactly. So anyone have the answer for number 3? I mean, we can see that in number 3, there's already a do there. So what could the error be with number 3? If you could just unmute your microphone to give the answers.
Do you ever do sports with other people in the family?
Good, exactly. Do you ever do sports? Well, what about number 4? So it says, are you enjoy family celebrations? There's something quite very wrong with that sentence.
Do you enjoy family celebrations?
Exactly.
Family celebrations.
Good. So, do you enjoy family celebrations? Now, I do want to give you a little bit of information about this sentence because you see that in the original version, it's are you enjoy. So if we were going to use the verb to be, then it would be in the context of the continuous. So if we wanted to use the continuous, it would be, are you enjoying family celebrations? But the context is not quite right, because if we wanted to use the continuous for this, it would be focusing on the action as it's happening now. So that would only be relevant if the speaker was currently attending a family celebration. So are you enjoying it? As in, are you enjoying it now? Because you are in the process of being in the family celebration. But here we're using do to just describe something that you might do often or occasionally. So we're using do to describe something that's more habitual, more of a habit or a routine or an occasion. Okay, so if you're unsure on that point, don't worry. It's a lot of information and we'll come back to these tense differences and issues throughout our course. So don't worry if you didn't 100% understand that. You will in time. Okay. What about number 5? Can someone please switch off your microphone to give me the answer? I think it's a bit of a strange question, isn't it, number 5? Was anyone able to answer this? Just remember to click unmute on your microphone because I just can't hear anyone at the moment.
How do other members of the family annoy you?
Yeah, good. How do? Now, this could be replaced by in what way? In what way? So in what way do they annoy you? Or how for this question, just simply how do they annoy you? And what about the final one, number 6?
Do you have any family traditions?
Well done. Perfect. So all of the answers that you've given me are absolutely correct. So well done, everybody, for that. And I've just got a little note here that when describing something you do often, so in often, so I'll put / habitually, so you can see the word that I've been using. You can use the word ever as well. So if you let's now imagine some of these sentences with ever, and I will give you the example. So do you ever do sports? Do you ever enjoy family celebrations, for example? So when describing how often you do something, we can use the word ever. Okay, so just moving, do just bear with me a moment. Okay, So I was going to do another activity with you with regards to that. I was going to get you to ask each other the questions using the third person, but as I see we are running out of time, and I would rather make sure that we look at some phrasal verbs. So if you have time to talk with people in your family just using do and the present tense, then please do please do that. And so we're going to move on instead to phrasal verbs, and this is what we'll be concentrating on for the next 5 or so minutes. And I'm just going to go through the answers with you for this, because in my opinion, some of these phrasal verbs were quite difficult. Now, so in a moment, we're going to look at the top right top right of page 9, and we'll look through the vocabulary and go through the answers together. And just to explain that phrasal verbs in English, we have so many of them, and they are so difficult because if you look at the individual part that make up the phrasal verb, so for instance, the verb and the preposition, the verb and the adverb, individually they have a completely different meaning. But when they come together to form part of the phrasal verb, then the meaning it's something very unique. It's something very different. And this is one of the reasons why phrasal verbs are very difficult, trying to remember which preposition to use to convey which meaning. So for instance, is it break up? Is it break down? Is it break in? Break out? It's really difficult to try to remember which phrasal verbs to use in what context, and that's what makes them very difficult to learn. And we're going to go through the answers to this exercise, together. And for that, I'm going to show you the book. So just simply having a very quick look here. You see the first example's been done for you. This is the top of page 9. And the first phrasal verb, to get on with. So all of these phrasal verbs here, you would have heard in the listening task. And after the class, if you go through the audio script, then you will see all of these phrasal verbs used in context to get a better idea of how to use them in a sentence. So to get on with, to continue doing something, in this case, especially work. For do up, does anybody know which one do up? Which meaning describes do up? Have a quick read of those, and if you think you know the answer, just shout, just unmute your microphone and shout out, because I can't see the chat while we're sharing the screen. So just unmute and shout out if you think you know the answer. So do up. Okay. So as I said, these are quite difficult. A lot of these will probably be new to you, so I'll tell you the answer. So to do up something, or to do something up, is to repair or decorate a building, to make it look nice, to make it look attractive. So to do up the house, to do the house up. So for this phrasal verb, we can separate do and up. To do up the house, or to do the house up. Not all phrasal verbs can be separated though. So that is another thing that makes phrasal verbs very difficult to learn. Some of them you can separate the verb from its adverb or preposition, and in some you absolutely cannot. And unfortunately, you just have to remember this. And as I said, phrasal verbs are very difficult to learn. Okay, number 3, to clear up. Does anyone just know already what this means, to clear up? So we know by process of elimination, it's not C and it's not F. So you only have a few more choices. To clear up. Clear up is another way of saying to tidy up. So if you're talking about housework, you can say, oh, can you clear up the kitchen? And it just means to tidy up. number 4, to go on. Does anyone know what go on means?
Continue.
Can you say it again, please?
Continue.
Exactly. So to continue. Precisely. Well done. Number 5, to wear out. Does anybody already know what this means?
Make someone extremely tired.
Yeah, that's right. So you can wear someone out or you can wear something out. And again, we can separate this to wear someone out or to wear out someone, wear out something or wear something out. And an example of this is, it says here to make someone extremely tired, but actually you can use the phrasal verb wear out to refer to objects, as I said, to wear something out. So you can wear out your shoes, for example. So if you have a pair of shoes and you have worn them so often that the quality of them is no longer good. So maybe your shoe is falling to pieces. So in that context, we can say, I've worn out my shoes. So I've worn them out. Okay. And the final one, pick up. We only have, I think we should only have one option left. Does anyone know what this means? To pick up someone or something. Okay, so this one is A, to collect, to go and get someone or something. So I'm going to give you a couple of example sentences. These example sentences are, I'm going to the shop to pick up some milk. Okay. And with pick up, we can separate it. So to pick some milk up or to pick up some milk. I think what I will do for the next lesson, and I wish I'd thought to do this in this lesson, is to actually write the variations of these phrasal verbs for you so you can actually see which ones can be separated and which ones can't. And I think that's how I'll begin the next lesson. So we'll do a quick recap of these phrasal verbs, including examples where you have the verb and the prepositional adverb together, and examples where they're separated. So you can see which ones can and cannot be separated, at least which ones in our list, and our 6 examples, can and cannot be separated. So to pick up some milk, or to pick some milk up, or a person. So for example, I'm going to the school to pick up my son. And all of these instances just mean to collect someone or something, to go get them. Okay, I was going to go through exercise 2 that you can see here with the gap fill exercise, but instead I would like to issue that as homework. Okay, so this, we don't have time to go through this in the class, so please, for homework, can you complete exercise 2? Now you should be able to do this because exercise 2 is just using these phrasal verbs. So in the gap, you must select which phrasal verb fits the context of the sentence. Just remember, however, to pay attention to the clues in the sentence. For example, past tense. So Matty had a little sleep because she felt, okay, so this is an adjective, but just for example, I mean, we're going to, here in number 3 would require past tense, for example. So please pay attention to the form of the verb is the point I'm trying to make. So please do exercise 2 for homework on exercise 9. These relate directly to the phrasal verbs that we've just gone through together. Now, if I'm right, then so you should have been making a note of the answer, but if I'm right also, I think the administration here in Tradition King record our sessions. So hopefully if you need to recap on these phrasal verbs, you can also review the class again, but I will find out about that for you. And just before we finish, I did want to go through your homework from last week. Okay, so I just want to quickly ask you the answers for these. So I know that we have 1 or 2 new students, and so for this, for now, just read the sentences and listen to the answers. We were looking at, the reason we were looking at this gap fill exercise is because we covered that it's very common for students to confuse make and do. Okay, so number 1, according to a recent study of teenagers, most of them something, not their housework. What is the answer here? Could you unmute your microphone? Is it a form of make or is it a form of do? That needs to be here. Do, good. Do not. Perfect. Number 2, I always something my own bed.
Make.
Ah, good. But I don't something any cleaning.
Don't do any cleaning.
Good. So he had to something a phone call.
Make.
Good. In order to something the arrangements.
Make the arrangement.
Good, exactly. Essential changes should be, now this is in a passive form, so we need the past participle.
Done.
Good. So that we avoid
Making.
making. Good. So the first answer I heard there, making specifically, because this has become a subject. And usually if we use a verb as a subject or an object phrase, we put it in the ing form. And I suspect at some point we will have a lesson on that. So don't worry too much if you didn't know that. Okay, so people who something language courses. Good, excellent. Tend to something a lot of friends. Good, well done everybody. This weekend, as well as something the shopping. The form of the verb is a bit difficult here. So we know that for shopping, we have to use, do we make the shopping or do we do the shopping?
Do.
We do the shopping, yes, but you have to pay attention to the rest of the sentence. So hoping, and also look at this adverbial phrase here, as well as. Usually when you're describing doing 2 actions at the same time, we need to use the continuous. And the clue here is the fact that you have hope already in the continuous as well. So doing the shopping, as well as doing the shopping, I'm hoping to, what's the form here? Just pay attention now, there's a bit of a trick because now you have the infinitive form. So now you no longer need the continuous because it's the infinitive form. So is it make or do? Do we do some outdoor activities or do we make outdoor activities? Okay, I'll give you the answer to this one. Do. So you do activities. Okay, thank you everyone. I'm just going to very quickly tell you the homework that I would like you to do in addition to the other piece I just gave you, which isn't listed here. Apologies for that. Oh, the final one. Okay, so at some point soon, I'm going to email to you or to make available on the Tuition King website the audio scripts, and I'd like you to just go through them and try to find examples of the phrasal verbs that we've covered today. Once you've found the examples, I then just want you to write your own example sentences using the phrasal verbs. That's a minimum of 4 sentences containing at least one of the phrasal verbs. Okay, so in each 4 sentences, in each sentence, 1 phrasal verb. Try to vary which phrasal verbs you use, of course. So you should aim to use all 4 of the phrasal verbs. And finally, here, oh, I just noticed there's a chat here. Sorry. What page? Ah, okay. What page? For this homework now or the previous homework? This homework here is dependent on the audio scripts and you do not have access to them just yet, which is why I will email them to you or make them available online. Okay, so hopefully that's you. Okay. So, and finally, I'd like you to go through, so when you're going through the audio scripts that I'm going to send you, you will see that the answers that you just answered, so like A, B, or C, are actually underlined. And I'd like you to pay attention to the answers that are underlined so that you can see how the wording is different. And the purpose of this is just to point out the fact that the wording in the questions is not always the same wording you'll hear in the audio scripts themselves. So in other words, they will be paraphrased. And so this exercise is just for you to be familiar with this idea, and also in turn it will help you expand your vocabulary as well, because you will see alternative ways of wording X, Y, or Z. Okay, so that is everything for today. I'm sorry that I kept you an extra 5 minutes. I think I prepared a bit too much for today's class. Thank you very much, everyone. You've all worked really well, and I'll see about getting all the presentations uploaded and the audio scripts as well. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a lovely week and good luck with all the homework and your other schooling. Okay, and goodbye, everybody.